Hello, my name is Andrew Thake. I'm a divisional director with Resourcing Tomorrow. Delighted to be joined today by Spencer Cole, who's a Chief Development Officer and CFO of Xanadu Mines. Delighted to have you with us today, Spencer.
Thank you, Andrew. Happy to be here.
Spencer, we're going to talk about the excellent deal between Bastion Mining and Xanadu. Can you start off by walking us through as to what prompted Bastion Mining to submit an offer for Xanadu?
Well, ultimately, the offer was about the quality of the asset and the recently completed pre-feasibility study. Bastion, Bastion is a miner that's focused in Mongolia and has really deep Mongolian connections and experience operating in country. And we see them in many ways as an ideal partner for Zijin. They bring that understanding that Zijin doesn't have, given that they aren't operating in country. They also, in really that ability to get through the regulatory and permitting process. Their interest is in growing. They'd like to become a much larger scale operator. They have the cash flow. They have additional assets in South America as well as Mongolia, but Hermakti will be by far their largest project, and this is part of their growth strategy.
How does Bastion envisage integrating Xanadu's projects into its existing portfolio?
Under the current JV shareholder agreement, Zijin is actually the operator of this project. So for Bastion, unless something changes, it's largely an equity investment, despite being a 50% holder and control of the project. So from an integration perspective, that's a discussion that Bastion and Zijin need to have with regards to, if there are any systems integration or anything that they want to deal with differently from what was doing right now. But I don't anticipate a major integration challenge for them.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the financial structure of the offer? For example, does the bid encourage earnouts, equity rollovers, or contingency payments tied to milestones?
No, it's very clean and plain vanilla. It's a cash offer of 8 cents per share for all the outstanding shares in Xanadu. They are currently they've just or just about to cross the 90% threshold. So it's a successful bid at this stage as we're speaking today, and I anticipate they'll go through the mandatory process to acquire all the remaining shares. So that'll be the finish of it. It was declared unconditional about a month back, and that was only tied to reaching 50.1%. Otherwise, there were no other conditions.
And how will the takeover impact Xanadu's current project development timelines?
If anything, I would anticipate it accelerates the timeline. Not only does Bastion have greater financial resources behind it than Xanadu, we were going through a structured funding process, but certainly we didn't have cash flows readily available. That's something that I was working on in the background. So they have the funds. They also have the connections within Mongolia, which will hopefully simplify and facilitate the permitting and approval process.
Mm-hmm. And what's been the reaction of the market to the bid? And by that I mean financiers, obviously the joint venture partners such as Zijin, and also regulatory stakeholders.
Obviously our share price went straight to 8 cents at the offer. I will say that the feedback has been positive. There are always those who came in at a higher price at a different time in the cycle. But by and large, people have made money on this. We've created a liquidity event for our shareholders. Our potential financiers who are going to come into the, to fund us at the next stage, of course, would love to have seen us carry through with all of that. But no negative feedback of any substance.
Will there be changes to Xanadu's leadership or board composition post-transaction?
The short answer is I don't know, but probably. Bastion has not fully communicated its plans for that yet, but our expectation was that both the board and management would change at least to some extent.
And following the acquisition, what is the long-term vision for the Hermakti and Xanadu's exploration pipeline?
Hermakti is it's essentially an unchanged vision, which is to move this thing into production, into construction in 28 or 29 as soon as possible, and that hasn't changed. With regards to Xanadu's pipeline, we're commencing a strategic review now, working with Bastion, so they can assess what they do or don't want to do with our Romanian exploration projects, or whether they want to grow the portfolio in a different way than what we had charted forward. So again, a moving target.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. That was Spencer Cole, Chief Development Officer and CFO of Xanadu Mines.
Thanks for your time, Andrew.